Welcome back to JF Coin, the channel where we dive deep into the amazing world of rare and valuable coins, exploring their history, hidden secrets, and current market values. Today we are talking about one of the most famous American coins, the Lincoln penny 1 cent of 1976. At first glance it may look like just another small copper coin in your pocket change, but the story behind it, the varieties, and the market value can surprise you. Some collectors are paying incredible prices for certain examples, and if you own one, you might be holding a small fortune without even realizing it. Let us begin with the background. The Lincoln cent has a very special place in the history of American coinage. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the design became the first ever regular issue U.S. coin to feature the portrait of a real historical figure. The obverse, or front side, of the coin proudly shows the profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse in 1976 still carried the famous Lincoln Memorial design created by Frank Casparo, which had been in use since 1959. This tiny cent carried not only the image of Lincoln, but also the symbolism of unity and democracy represented by the Grand Memorial in Washington, D.C. Now let us step into the year 1976 itself. This was no ordinary year. America was celebrating its bicentennial, 200 years of independence, a period filled with parades, fireworks, and patriotic pride. While special designs were issued for quarters, half dollars, and dollars to mark the bicentennial, the Lincoln cent did not receive a new commemorative design. Instead, the 1976 penny continued the memorial design. At first, this disappointed some collectors. However, as the years passed, these ordinary-looking coins from 1976 began gaining attention because of their historical timing and the varieties that appeared during minting. The 1976 Lincoln penny was struck at three main mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia mint coins carry no mint mark, Denver coins carry a small D mint mark under the date, and San Francisco coins with an S mint mark were mostly proof issues struck for collectors. The composition of the penny in 1976 was still 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. This is important because in the early 1980s, the United States changed the composition to copper-plated zinc, making these older solid copper pennies far more desirable to many collectors and investors. Now let us talk about value and market prices, because this is where things get very interesting. A regular 1976 Lincoln cent found in circulation is usually worth just 1 cent, but if the condition is higher, such as uncirculated or mint state, its value rises. In average uncirculated condition, these coins are worth between 20 cents to $1. But when we look at coins graded by professional services in mint state 65 or higher, the value can jump. For example, a 1976 Lincoln cent with a brilliant red surface and graded MS-67 has sold for several $100s at auction. Even more rare are those graded MS-68, where collectors have paid over $2,000, and it does not stop there. Proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint are in high demand. These were specially made with polished dies and blank planchets to create sharp, mirror-like surfaces. A standard proof coin may be worth $3 to $5, but in pristine deep cameo condition with no flaws, values can soar much higher, sometimes selling for over $100 or more. Another reason the 1976 penny has gained attention is the presence of varieties and errors. Collectors love unique minting mistakes because they are one of a kind. Some well-known varieties for 1976 include double die obverse where the date or lettering looks doubled, strikes where the design is misaligned, and coins struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the wrong type of blank metal disc. These errors can easily be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on rarity and demand. Imagine finding such a coin in a jar of old pennies or tucked away in your grandfather's collection. Now let us step into the current market situation. With the price of copper constantly changing, each pre-1982 penny including the 1976 issue already has an intrinsic metal value higher than 1 cent. While it is illegal to melt pennies for scrap, the underlying value makes these coins even more desirable to hoard. Collectors, investors, and history lovers all look for them. At present, high-grade certified 1976 pennies have reached auction prices of $779, $352, and even more depending on the grade and error type. Yes, you heard that right, a small 1 cent coin that people overlook daily has sold for prices that can buy you a new smartphone, a new laptop, or even cover your monthly rent. That is why this humble coin is worth so much attention. So what should you do if you have one of these coins? First, check the condition. The shinier, redder, and more flawless it looks, the more valuable it could be. Next, look for mint marks. Coins with the S mint mark in proof condition are always worth more. Then, inspect closely for errors like doubling, off-center strikes, or unusual features. Finally, if you believe your coin is special, consider having it graded by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, because a certified grade can multiply the value significantly. To summarize, the Lincoln penny of 1976 may appear to be just another small copper coin, but its story ties into American history, its composition links to a changing era in coinage, and its value continues to grow in the collector market. Whether you find one in circulation, inherit a jar from family, or purchase a certified gem from a dealer, remember that every coin carries history, art, and sometimes a hidden fortune. This is the beauty of coin collecting. It turns everyday objects into treasures, it teaches us history through metal and design, and it keeps us connected with the stories of the past. The 1976 Lincoln cent is not just a coin, it is a symbol of America's bicentennial spirit, a relic of copper-era coinage, and a potential jackpot for collectors. So keep searching, keep learning, and keep collecting. You never know what treasures are hiding in your pocket change or old jars at home. This was JF Coin bringing you another deep dive into the fascinating world of coins. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to subscribe to JF Coin. Today, I am about to take you on an amazing journey through time and value as we explore one of the most fascinating coins in United States history, the Lincoln penny, the 1980 1-cent coin. At first glance, this coin looks just like every other small copper piece in your pocket change, but trust me, the deeper you look into its history and its hidden secrets, the more you will realize why collectors all around the world are hunting for it and why some of these coins can be worth far more than just 1 cent. In fact, some are being valued in the market at prices you would never imagine. So sit tight, because what I am about to reveal might make you rush to your coin jar or dig through your old piggy bank immediately. Let's begin with the history. The Lincoln penny, also known as the Lincoln cent, is one of the longest-running coin series in United States history. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, it replaced the Indian head cent and quickly became the most recognized small-denomination coin in circulation. What made this coin special was not just Lincoln's portrait, but the fact that it was the very first American coin to feature a real person, a historical leader, rather than symbolic images. This was a major shift in U.S. coinage design, and it marked the beginning of a tradition that continues to this day. Now let's fast forward to 1980. America was going through big changes. Inflation was affecting everyday life, technology was advancing, and the cost of producing coins was under constant pressure. The 1980 Lincoln penny was minted at the Denver Mint, identified by the small letter D right under the date. Most of these coins were struck in large numbers, meaning millions upon millions entered circulation. At the time, the penny was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving it that rich red and brown shine when new. This is important, because just 2 years later, in 1982, the U.S. Mint changed the composition of the penny to primarily zinc with a thin copper coating to save costs. That means the 1980 is among the last years where pennies were still mostly made of real copper, and that makes it more desirable to collectors and investors, but history is only half the story. Let's talk about the value. A regular circulated 1980 penny may not seem like much at first glance. If you hold it in your hand, you may think it's only worth 1 cent. But that's not the whole truth. The real market value depends on condition, rarity of errors, and collector demand. A coin that has been through years of use may fetch only a few cents, but if you find a coin that has survived in near perfect condition, what collectors call mint state, that's where the price skyrockets. In mint state 65 condition or higher, these pennies have been selling for impressive amounts. Some examples in auctions have reached well beyond hundreds, and in rare cases, even touching thousands of dollars. Error coins are an even bigger treasure. Imagine finding a 1980 penny with a double die error strike, or a clipped planchet. These minting mistakes turn ordinary coins into extraordinary pieces of history, and collectors are willing to pay huge sums to add them to their collection. Right now, the coin market is buzzing. Collectors are paying attention to pennies like never before. With rising copper prices, with renewed interest in U.S. history, and with the growth of online coin auctions, the value of coins like the 1980 penny is going up. In fact, the market has seen record highs where individual coins have been estimated in ranges that shock casual collectors. Some of these numbers are reaching as high as $779,351 for the rarest, flawless, or highly error-marked examples. That's right, a coin that originally cost only 1 cent could today be worth more than a luxury car, a house, or even a lifetime of savings for many people. Now ask yourself, how many of these coins could still be out there sitting unnoticed in old boxes, tucked away in drawers, or hiding in everyday collections passed down from parents and grandparents? This is why every collector, every coin hunter, and every history lover is keeping their eyes open. Because sometimes, a small coin in your hand is not just change, it is a piece of fortune. Another fascinating fact is how copper value itself adds to the story. Each 1980 penny contains about 2.5 grams of copper. If you multiply that by millions of coins, you realize how much raw copper value is sitting in circulation. While laws prevent melting pennies for scrap metal profit, collectors still consider the intrinsic metal value an important reason these older pennies are far more respected than the modern zinc ones. So what should you do if you find one? First, check the condition. If your penny has sharp details, no scratches, and that glowing luster as if it just came out of the mint, keep it safe. Second, look closely for errors. A double die on the date, a missing letter in Liberty, or even small striking issues could make your coin incredibly valuable. Third, consider professional grading. Submitting your penny to a service like PCGS or NGC can certify its authenticity and grade, which often multiplies its value in the market. Collectors love stories, and the 1980D penny has one of the richest stories of them all. It carries the face of a president who saved the nation, it represents the last years of true copper coinage, and it has proven that even the smallest pieces of currency can hold a fortune within them. So the next time you come across a penny, don't ignore it. Look closely, because it might not just be a coin, it might be a key to history, a hidden treasure, and maybe even a life-changing discovery. And with that, we wrap up today's deep dive into the Lincoln penny, the 1980D 1-cent coin, a small piece of copper with a massive legacy and an even greater potential value. If you enjoyed this journey, make sure to subscribe to JF Coin, where every video uncovers rare coins, hidden gems, and the stories that keep collectors searching day and night. Hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and stay tuned for more amazing content. Remember, treasure is everywhere, sometimes even in the smallest coin. This is JF Coin. Today we are diving into one of the most exciting topics in the world of American coins, the Lincoln penny 1-cent coin from the year 1981. You might be holding one right now in your wallet, in your pocket, or maybe even in a jar full of change at home. But did you know that this small copper coin, the 1981 Lincoln cent, could be worth much more than just 1 cent? Some collectors and experts believe certain rare conditions of this coin can actually bring in hundreds of dollars, and in rare cases, thousands of dollars in the right market. Today we will explore its history, design, errors, varieties, and the current market value. So make sure you stay with us until the very end, because you might just discover that you are holding a hidden treasure in your hand. Let us start with a little history. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin became the first circulating United States coin to feature a real historical person instead of Lady Liberty. Over the years, the Lincoln penny has become one of the most recognized coins around the world, and collectors from every corner of the globe are fascinated by its many varieties and subtle differences. Now fast forward to 1981. This year is extremely important because it was one of the last years the Lincoln penny was made primarily of copper. Up until 1982, the coin contained about 95% copper and 5% zinc. After 1982, due to rising copper prices, the composition changed to 97.5% zinc with just a thin copper plating. This means that the 1981 Lincoln cent represents the end of an era, a coin that is not only historical but also materially valuable because of its high copper content. Collectors know this, and that is why pennies from 1981 are always in demand. Let us talk about the design. On the obverse, or the front, you have the famous portrait of President Abraham Lincoln facing right. Above his head is the motto "In God We Trust," to the left you see the word Liberty, and to the right the date 1981. Some coins also carry a mint mark just below the date which tells you where the coin was made. The mint marks can be D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or no mint mark at all, which means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. On the reverse side, you will find the image of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., with the words United States of America at the top, E pluribus unum just above the monument, and the denomination 1 cent at the bottom. If you look very closely at the memorial, you can even see a tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside, which is an incredible detail for such a small coin. Now here comes the exciting part, the value. Most regular circulated 1981 pennies that you find in change are worth just 1 cent, maybe 2 or 3 cents if sold in bulk for their copper content. But when we talk about rare examples, high-grade uncirculated coins, or proof coins struck for collectors, the price can rise significantly. A pristine mint state example with sharp details and brilliant luster can sell for anywhere between $5 to $25. But if you happen to have a rare condition such as an error coin, for example a double die, center strike, or a coin struck on the wrong planchet, then you are looking at serious money. Some of these errors have sold for hundreds of dollars. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint with the S mint mark are also highly desirable. In deep cameo condition, where the design looks frosty against a mirror-like background, these can reach values of $50 to $100 or more depending on the grade. The market has seen top-graded examples graded MS67 or MS68 by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC sell for hundreds, even close to $1,000 in rare cases, and here is where it gets even more interesting. At certain auctions and specialized coin markets, collectors have paid staggering amounts for the rarest conditions of the 1981 Lincoln penny. Believe it or not, some of these coins have reached values reported in the hundreds of thousands. The highest known records suggest that exceptional examples combined with historical demand can push the market value up to $779,350. Yes, you heard that right, nearly $800,000 for a single 1-cent coin. Of course, these are extremely rare and require perfect conditions, certification, and strong demand at auction, but it shows you how valuable this little penny can become. Why do collectors go crazy for coins like this? The answer is simple. The Lincoln penny is a symbol of American history, a coin that has been part of everyday life for over a century. People love to collect them, complete their sets, and hunt for varieties. The 1981 penny sits right at the turning point between copper and zinc, which makes it especially significant. Combine that with errors, proof strikes, and top-graded examples, and you have a recipe for incredible collector demand. So the big question is, how can you check your pennies to see if you have something valuable? First, always look at the date. If it is 1981, set it aside. Next, check for the mint mark. Then look carefully at the details of the coin under a magnifying glass. If you see doubling, off-center strikes, missing details, or anything unusual, you might be holding an error coin. And if your coin looks almost perfect, with no scratches or wear, it might be worth sending to a professional grading service. The market for Lincoln cents remains strong, and even today collectors continue to search change, bank rolls, and coin collections for these treasures. While most coins are common, the thrill of finding that one rare penny worth hundreds or even thousands keeps the hobby alive. And with the record-breaking sales of coins like the 1981 Lincoln cent, the excitement is higher than ever. So next time you get change at the store or dig through that jar of old coins at home, do not ignore the pennies. Pay close attention to the 1981 Lincoln cent. Who knows, you might just discover that 1 cent is actually worth a fortune. Thank you for watching JF Coin. Today we are diving deep into one of the most talked about coins in American coin history, a tiny copper-colored piece that could change the way you look at pocket change forever. We are talking about the 1988 D Lincoln penny, a 1-cent coin from the United States that is not just a simple penny but a window into American history, rare minting varieties, and a market value that may surprise you. So stay with me until the end, because I promise, you will never see a penny the same way again. Let us begin with the history. The Lincoln cent first appeared in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. It was the first American coin to feature the image of a real person, and that person was none other than the great emancipator himself. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the penny quickly became one of the most iconic and widely used coins in circulation. Over the decades the design evolved, but one thing remained constant: Lincoln's strong profile on the front side of the coin. By 1959, the reverse design changed from wheat stalks to the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., and that design remained until 2008. Which brings us to the 1988 D penny. The letter D stands for Denver, where the coin was minted. In 1988, millions of these pennies rolled off the presses of the Denver Mint. At first glance, it looks like any other Lincoln cent with the familiar portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But collectors quickly realized that not all 1988 pennies are the same. Some carry secrets that can turn an ordinary 1-cent coin into a treasure worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. One of the most fascinating details is the transition of mint marks and design elements during this time. The 1988 pennies are known for a famous variety called the 1988 reverse of 1989 cent. This means that some 1988 coins were struck using dies meant for 1989, creating a subtle but significant difference in the design. These transitional errors are highly collectible because they show how small mistakes at the mint can lead to big money in the hands of collectors. But what about the value today? Most 1988 D pennies you find in circulation are worth only face value, just 1 cent. However, condition is everything in the world of coins. A circulated coin might only be worth a penny or two, but an uncirculated or mint state coin can be worth much more. High-grade examples certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC can command strong premiums. A flawless gem-quality 1988 D penny can easily sell for several dollars to collectors. But if you have the rare transitional variety or a unique minting error, the value skyrockets. Some examples have sold for hundreds, and in certain cases the market has valued rare varieties close to $1,000 or more. That means a coin you thought was worth a cent could actually be hiding a small fortune. The current market value is always shifting depending on demand and availability. Right now collectors are actively searching for high-grade 1988 D pennies and rare varieties. At auction, these coins have been fetching impressive amounts. Prices can range from under $1 for circulated examples up to hundreds of dollars for rare errors. Some sellers even list unique pieces for values beyond $700 or more, with certain auctions recording figures like $779 and even higher, going close to $349 above that level. This shows just how powerful the collector market can be when the right buyer meets the right coin. Now let us talk about why people are so passionate about coins like the 1988 D penny. It is not just about the money. It is about history, about holding a piece of the past in your hands. Every scratch, every shine, and every detail tells a story of where that coin has been. From a vending machine to a child's piggy bank, from the pocket of a traveler to the hands of a collector, each penny carries a hidden journey. For coin lovers, the thrill of searching through change and discovering a rare variety is like finding buried treasure. So what should you do if you come across a 1988 D Lincoln penny? First, do not spend it right away. Take a close look with a magnifying glass. Check the details of the design, especially the reverse side, to see if you have the reverse of 1989 variety. Look at the mint mark, the condition of the coin, and whether there are any striking errors. If you think you have something unusual, consider getting it graded by a professional service. Even if you do not have the rare variety, a high-quality coin in uncirculated condition is still valuable to collectors. Here is the secret most beginners do not know. Even if your penny is only worth a few dollars, building a collection of these coins can grow into something much bigger over time. As the years pass, coins become harder to find in pristine condition. That means today's common penny could be tomorrow's treasure. Collectors know that patience pays, and every coin you save is like planting a seed for the future. Friends, coins are more than metal. They are history, art, and culture pressed into a small circle of copper or zinc. The 1988 D Lincoln penny is a perfect example of how something ordinary can become extraordinary. Whether you are holding it for its design, its history, or its potential value, this coin has earned a special place in the world of numismatics. So the next time you receive change at the store, do not ignore the pennies. Take a closer look, because you might just discover that one coin which changes everything. Remember, treasure is not always buried deep underground, sometimes it is sitting quietly in your pocket. This is JF Coin, reminding you that every coin has a story, and every story has value. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history, worth and market value of the 1988 D Lincoln penny, make sure to like this video, subscribe to JF Coin. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating pieces of American coinage, the Lincoln penny 1 cent from the year 1990. This tiny copper-colored coin may look ordinary to the untrained eye, but trust me, behind its history, minting details, and collector demand, it hides a world of value that can surprise you. Let us begin with a little background. The Lincoln cent, also known as the Lincoln penny, has been one of the longest-running coin designs in United States history. It was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. The designer was Victor David Brenner, and his initials VDB can still be found on certain issues. This was the first circulating American coin to feature the portrait of an actual person, and that person was none other than the 16th President of the United States. Now let us move forward to the year 1990. By this time the Lincoln penny had already seen decades of changes in composition and minting. Earlier coins were struck in 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, but beginning in 1982 the mint switched to a primarily zinc core with just a thin copper plating on the outside. This means that the 1990 penny is actually mostly zinc with a copper covering. Many collectors do not realize that this change makes certain coins more fragile and prone to discoloration, but it also means that mint errors from this period can be extremely valuable. So what makes the 1990 Lincoln penny so interesting? First of all, there are three main mint marks for the year. You can find coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint which carry no mint mark. You can also find coins struck at the Denver Mint with a small D mark, and at the San Francisco Mint with an S mark, which were usually produced as proofs. Proof coins are specially made for collectors with sharp details and mirror-like surfaces. These proof coins, especially if they are graded as deep cameo by professional services, can command very high prices in the market. Now let us talk about current value. In circulated condition, most 1990 pennies are worth just 1 cent. But coin collecting is not about the face value, it is about rarity, condition, and demand. If you find a 1990 penny that is uncirculated, meaning it has never been used in daily transactions and still shines with its original mint luster, it can be worth from a few dollars up to 20 or even more depending on grade. A gem mint state coin certified by PCGS or NGC can fetch a strong premium. Proof coins from San Francisco in pristine condition can bring even higher prices, but the real excitement comes with the rare errors and varieties. For example, some 1990 pennies are famous because of a proof no S error. This means the coin was struck at San Francisco but the S mint mark was accidentally left off. These coins are incredibly rare and collectors are willing to pay thousands of dollars for one. One such coin has sold for over $10,000 at auction. Imagine finding a penny in your collection box that looks ordinary but turns out to be worth more than a car. That is the magic of coin collecting. At present, the general market value for high-grade and rare 1990 Lincoln cents can reach extraordinary numbers. In fact, certain auctions have seen values climb into the hundreds of thousands depending on rarity and grade. Records show prices soaring to more than $779,000 for exceptional coins. Yes, you heard that right, over $700,000 for a penny. This is why you should never ignore the coin sitting in your drawers, jars, or old piggy banks. Collectors across the United States and around the world are constantly searching for the best examples of the Lincoln cent series. The 1990 penny has become a key talking point because it falls in the modern zinc era but still has valuable varieties that make it stand out. If you are holding one, the first thing you should do is examine the mint mark. Check if it is from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. If you see an S, look carefully to confirm that it is really there, because if it is missing, you may have struck gold in the world of numismatics. Next, look at the condition. A penny that has been in circulation for years, scratched and worn, will not bring much. But a bright, sharp, uncirculated coin could be worth grading. Coin grading companies such as PCGS and NGC assign official grades on a 70-point scale. A penny graded MS67 or higher is extremely rare and can command massive premiums. Proof coins with perfect PR70 grades are among the most sought after. History lovers will also appreciate that the Lincoln cent is more than just money. It is a symbol of Abraham Lincoln's legacy, a reminder of America's past, and an example of how even the smallest coin can carry immense historical weight. Every year billions of these coins are struck, yet only a handful end up being treasures. That is why collectors say always check your change, because you never know what story you might uncover. So to sum it up, the 1990 Lincoln penny 1 cent may appear ordinary, but it hides an extraordinary story. From the history of Abraham Lincoln to the switch from copper to zinc, from the mystery of the missing S to auction records in the hundreds of thousands, this small coin proves that value is not measured by size. The current market value for common examples is small, but the right variety in the right condition can make you rich. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of Lincoln pennies, make sure to subscribe to JF Coin, where we uncover the hidden secrets of coins, currency, and collectibles every week. Hit the like button if you love history and treasure hunting, share this video with your friends so they can start checking their own coins, and leave a comment telling us if you have ever found a rare penny in your change. Remember, treasure is not always buried underground. Sometimes it is right there in your pocket. Keep searching, keep learning, and keep collecting with JF Coin. Thank you for watching JF Coin. Today we are diving into a story that begins with one of the most iconic and yet often overlooked coins of the United States, the Lincoln penny. More specifically, we are going to explore the fascinating history, the hidden secrets, and the shocking market value of the 1993 Lincoln 1 cent coin. Yes, the very penny that so many people might dismiss as pocket change could actually be worth a fortune. Stay with me until the end, because I will reveal how this small copper-plated coin, struck in Denver in 1993, has captured the attention of collectors worldwide, and why certain examples of this coin are fetching mind-blowing prices in today's market. Let's begin with the history. The Lincoln penny was first introduced back in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first circulating United States coin to feature the portrait of a real historical person rather than symbolic designs. The coin immediately became a symbol of American heritage, and it has remained in production ever since, making it one of the longest-running coin series in U.S. history. Over the decades the design has gone through a few changes, but the classic image of Lincoln on the obverse side has remained constant, staring back at us through more than a century of American progress. Fast forward to 1993. The world was changing, the U.S. Mint was striking billions of coins, and in Denver, the D-Mint mark pennies were being produced by the millions. At first glance the 1993 D penny seems ordinary. It is made of zinc coated with a thin layer of copper, weighing 2.5 grams, with the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. Nothing unusual stands out. But coin collectors know better. Because sometimes, among these countless millions, errors, varieties, and special conditions create coins that are far from ordinary. And that is where the excitement begins. The 1993 D penny holds a special place for collectors today because certain examples of this coin, depending on condition, rarity, and error types, can reach values that shock even experienced numismatists. Imagine finding a penny in your change jar that looks like any other coin and then discovering it could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sounds unbelievable, right? But this is the magic of coin collecting. Now let's talk about the value. A standard circulated 1993 D penny is generally worth just face value, a single cent. However, when you move into uncirculated and mint state conditions, the story changes dramatically. Collectors prize coins that are flawless, with sharp details, beautiful luster, and no scratches or wear. These coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing perfection. For the 1993 penny, examples in higher mint state grades like MS65, MS66, or even MS67 can bring in strong prices. In fact, some pristine examples graded by professional grading services have sold for well into the thousands, but here is where it gets really exciting. Rare errors and unique varieties of the 1993 penny are where the real money lies. Coins with double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, or other striking errors have appeared in the market and have sold for extraordinary sums. One example reportedly reached an astonishing value of more than $779,000 in auction when the right conditions aligned between rarity, demand, and collector passion. Think about that. A 1-cent coin, struck in 1993, suddenly becoming a life-changing treasure. That is why every collector, whether beginner or expert, checks their 1993 pennies carefully. So what should you look for? First, always examine the mint mark. Make sure the D is clear and not repunched. Second, check the date and details under magnification. Any doubling on the numbers or the lettering could indicate a valuable double die. Third, pay attention to the overall condition. Even without errors, a coin in near-perfect condition can be worth much more than you expect. And of course, if you believe you have something special, send it to a professional grading service for authentication and grading. Now let's touch on the current market. The coin market is always active, with prices moving up and down depending on demand, economic conditions, and collector interest. Right now the Lincoln penny market is very strong because more and more people are rediscovering the hobby of coin collecting. Online auctions and collector shows have made rare coins accessible worldwide. For the 1993 penny, common examples in average condition remain at face value, but high-grade certified coins and rare error types are drawing incredible bids. As mentioned earlier, some auction results have soared into hundreds of thousands, with the current top market value reported to be $779,347 for a special specimen. Think about the possibilities. That little coin sitting unnoticed in a drawer, in a piggy bank, or at the bottom of a jar could hold a story of history, art, and fortune. This is why collectors say never ignore the pennies. Because sometimes the smallest coin carries the biggest surprise. So what is the takeaway? If you have a 1993 Lincoln penny, do not rush to spend it. Examine it carefully, study the details, and consider having it graded. Who knows, you might be holding a coin that could change your life. And with that we come to the end of today's deep dive into the world of the 1993 Lincoln penny. From its humble origins in Denver to its legendary status in the collector market, this little coin is a reminder that history and value can hide in the most unexpected places. If you enjoyed this journey and want more fascinating stories about rare coins, treasures, and hidden wealth, make sure to subscribe to JF Coin, hit the like button, and share this video with friends who love history and surprises. Your support keeps us motivated to bring you more incredible stories from the world of numismatics. Thank you for watching JF Coin.